Mzwandile Mbeje, who joins us now via Zoom. Mzwai, thanks very much indeed. You've been at this game a long time as well. You've seen previous impeachment approaches before, but everyone says there's something very different about this one. Where are we? Just how serious is this recommendations that have been announced by the panel?
Well, a very good evening to you, Peter, and to the viewers. It's quite serious, particularly from the political point of view. Remember, when all is said and done, he is a leader of the political party. And interestingly, that political party is holding its crucial gathering in 3 weeks. In fact, if you've been following, well, I know you have, Peter, some of the interviews that we've been doing with senior members of the ANC, where basically we've been asking the question first posed by former President Thabo Mbeki. When he addressed a gathering some time ago, he said, given that the president is facing a situation of this nature, has the NEC sat down and decided that if the answer is there is a case to answer, how are they going to respond? So this is quite crucial. In fact, as recently as 2 days ago, Peter, I spoke to the acting Secretary General, the Treasurer General of the ANC, Paul Mashatile. I posed this very question. So his answer was that the top 6 or the top 4, if you like, may meet this evening, but we do understand now that he has called a special NEC of the ANC to meet tomorrow to reflect and discuss this issue, because politically this is big, Peter, especially ahead of the conference that is coming.
What do you think might come out of this NEC? Because the future of the party perhaps could be hanging on this, or is that too much to say?
Well, this NEC, interestingly, they are the highest body that makes decisions between conferences. And interestingly, they may find themselves having to make one of the biggest decisions just 3 weeks before the conference. So will they want the conference perhaps to take the final decision on this, or will they be the ones who do it, given that he is the leading candidate? So there's so much to this. But I guess if I may do my own predictions, as you have said, and what I know how generally the ANC operates, they are probably going to say they will follow the due process that is unfolding out in Parliament. Remember, this is a parliamentary process. Of course, we know it has huge political implications. And then, given that, in fact, even themselves, right now, the president politically, within his party, he appears still very strong based on the nominations. So I wonder if the NEC members would want to pronounce themselves very strongly just 3 weeks ahead of the conference, because you may not know how the membership may feel. I suspect that they may say in this NEC that is going to meet tomorrow, we will allow the process to unfold, and then we expect the president to subject himself to that process. Perhaps let's take this matter to the conference. But then the question is, will that change the mood of the branch delegates who have nominated him as the majority candidate in terms of presidential position? It's going to be very interesting, Peter.
Might the president save the party all of this grief and fall on his sword by himself?
Well, he has a lot of also introspection that he needs to do, because remember, he himself may not want to then, if this process will then drag out, he may not want actually to then put himself through this. I think on the strength of what would have happened, remember, he is still going to study this report thoroughly. And then if I think he feels that the evidence may be a bit too strong, and then they may tarnish him and his integrity, he probably may rethink. But I don't think we're there yet. But once really everyone has perused this, because I think almost all of us are speaking from a point of view of very superficial knowledge or information, because many of us haven't really gone deep into the report. But what is guiding us right now is the conclusion, because the conclusion is very important. The fact that it has been concluded that he has a case to answer, politically, it has huge implications. Remember, this is the head of state. This is the person, Peter, who just last week was in London speaking to investors, saying he's fighting the issues of corruption, he's restoring the integrity and all these things. So now you are the one faced with them. So what do you do?
All right, and perhaps briefly as a final question, could there be aspersions cast now on the law enforcement agencies, the Hawks, SARS, because you have a panel that was able to come up with quite serious findings in a short space of time with very little available to them, and yet these other agencies have done nothing, or we haven't heard anything from them?
I think what you'll see happen now, Peter, is that there'll be more pressure from these investigating agencies to come to a determination. If the panel was able to conclude this work within, is it a month or so, and they've been going through this, and I know that the processes are not exactly the same. This was specifically meant for Parliament. Theirs, remember, so when they decide on this, it will have to be taken to court and stuff like that. So, but there will be a lot of pressure. But I think even in that lot of pressure, I guess there will also be that kind of measured approach, because let's be honest, we are all equal before the law, but he remains the first among the equals. Sometimes that which happens to him does affect even the markets. So it will be interesting to see how the markets, for example, will react, because he is the face, he is the head, he is South Africa, so to speak, in terms of representing us.
Mzwandile, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much indeed for your initial thoughts. I have no doubt you have a lot of reading to do overnight, and the next 2-3 days probably going to be the longest days for everybody. Thanks so much for your thoughts.